So the first image is an animated GIF, and it's a trippy mindfuck. So I've described the overall context of the scene, but what I have not described is that face. Taco technique. Genius. Hello, my name is Alex. I'm a programmer, and you may not be aware that every image on the internet is required to have an image description. But a lot of people on the internet don't do their jobs right, and they leave off the image description. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find some images on the internet that don't have a description, and I'm going to add one. So let's get started. So the first image is an animated GIF, and it's a trippy mindfuck. Okay. Okay, so I think I've described this properly. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play this audio description with a screen reader. And a screen reader is an accessible technology that blind people use to perceive content. And so a lot of the users that are actually going to use an image description like this will be using a screen reader. So I want to test it using a screen reader just to see how it sounds.
A GIF animates a swirling vortex of stacks and stacks of white and black cubes, falling deeper and deeper in a perfect loop.
Just for fun, I want to increase the pace of the screen reader because the way a lot of blind people use screen readers is actually a lot faster. So let's hear what that sounds like.
95%, 100, closing break menu. Image descriptions. A GIF animates a swirling vortex of stacks and stacks of white and black cubes, falling deeper and deeper in a perfect loop.
I didn't get that, but... So let's continue to the next image. We're lucky. We got another animated GIF. Those are always fun. So a man is tearing out of the forest, running as fast as he can. He's running like a dork because he's not swinging his arms. His arms are just at his side. And then a few moments later, a cow emerges from the forest and he's being pursued by the cow. I also noticed, because as it loops, that there's like a horse that at the beginning that is completely unamused and does not give a shit about what's happening. So that's an important ingredient of this GIF. Let's describe it. I feel like the horse is the punchline to this whole situation.
A looping animated GIF shows a teenager tearing out of the forest, running as fast as he can. A cow is in hot pursuit. A horse observes the scene with perfect indifference.
Next. I like this challenge because, like, how do you describe this? It's inexplicable. So it seems to be some sort of musical performance. I think I see like an electric guitar in the background and like a bass drum. So there's sound happening in this scene for sure. But the main attraction, the main thing is like a robot that's like grooving. And as it grooves, I'm trying to understand its anatomy. Like, what the You know what? Actually, now that I look at it, it has like a face. And it took me a while to see that. This is the ear. It has like a mariachi style mustache. Is that a mariachi mustache? Can't be denied. It has like a mariachi style mustache. In the corner, there's a date. It's very hard to read, but it says 1970. Which, given the grainy look of this thing, that is... Yep, it's gotta be. So, now I'll take a stab at describing this. So I've described the overall context of the scene, but what I have not described is that face. And I am struggling to figure out how to describe that face.
An animated GIF shows grainy television footage depicting a thumping bass drum, fingers tickling a guitar, and in center frame, a robot thrusting its head rhythmically. The joyful movement belies its severely underdeveloped facial anatomy, with tape on eyebrows and a long mariachi mustache.
If I were to criticize this description, it's that it's not really funny. But you know, the image is not really funny. It's more surreal. Like, it makes you feel unsettled. And so I would say that the description accurately captures that part of it.
Rate 85%, 95, 100, closing break menu. Animated shows grainy television footage depicting a thumping bass drum, fingers tickling a guitar, and in center frame, a robot thrusting its head rhythmically. The joyful movement belies its severely underdeveloped facial anatomy, with tape on eyebrows and a long mariachi mustache.
Cool. So let's go on to the fourth and final image. Aww. Don't you love white people? So what we have here, this looks like it's from a commercial. And there's a white lady, probably from a long time ago, judging by her hair. 80s. Television footage from the 80s. She's trying to eat a hard-shell taco. There's nothing Mexican about this taco. The robot was much more Mexican than that taco. She's attempting to eat a taco and it just shatters in her mouth. Maybe this is too ethnic for her. I don't know. Yeah, and it just gets obliterated. Hard to eat a taco. It's, again, an animated GIF, looping in about a second.
A GIF shows a second of anonymous 80s television footage as a white lady brings a hard-shell taco up to her mouth. Some flaw in her taco technique results in the taco shattering, bits of shell and lettuce spilling down her turtleneck.
Taco technique. Genius. So, a white lady. The question is, like, when do you define things like race? You know? Because it would be weird if you mentioned race every time. As a person perceiving the world, hopefully you don't look at every single person in the entire world and just immediately jump to the race. But in this case, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Okay. Now, let's increase the pace just for fun.
Rate 90%, 95, 100, closing break menu. Animated GIF shows a second of anonymous 80s television footage as a white lady brings a hard-shell taco up to her mouth. Some flaw in her taco technique results in the taco shattering, bits of shell and lettuce spilling down her turtleneck.
Great.
Voiceover off.
Well, I hope you had fun today. I hope you learned something. This has been the third time I've done this, and each time I never have any idea what to expect. But it's always fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, see ya.